price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply, but in general, elasticities. That's the topic of discussion for Chapter 5. Now, I often think that as people first look through some of the exercises, they see some of the mathematical formulas, they think this is going to be a horrendous chapter. Please know that you can do this. We're going to walk through the way in which you do the computations in just a minute. Let's start by talking about the overarching subject of elasticity. I always find this chapter to be quite interesting because price elasticity of demand helps us answer that big question. What are people going to do when we change our prices? Now, intuitively, we kind of know what's going to happen, right? If we raise the price of something, people are going to buy less. If we lower the price of something, people are going to buy more. But the bigger question becomes this: how much more are they going to buy when we lower the price? How much less are they going to buy when we raise the price? Price elasticity of demand will help us answer that question. It's really a window into the mind of our customers. You often wonder, if I raise the price, are people just going to shriek and quit buying things? If I lower the price, am I going to have a stampede of people coming into the store? Well, the answer might be yes, the answer might be no. We now can find out how people will react when we change prices. So, price elasticity of demand, it really is a measure of responsiveness. It's a measure of response to change in price. In Chapter 5, at the end of the chapter, you found a set of exercises, and I'm going to ask you to complete that exercises. The first one will ask you to calculate price elasticity of demand. As you did your reading, you found that the price elasticity of demand is described as the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. And you saw this formulaic expression, a percent sign, a triangle, which is the Greek symbol delta, which represents change. In a little easier format, our authors gave you this clue. You can see that what we're going to do is work with quantity figures on the top, price figures on the bottom. So to calculate a change in quantity demanded, very specifically a percentage change, we're going to take the second quantity figure minus the first one, divided by the first quantity figure. On the bottom, we're going to work with the price figures the same way. We're going to take the second price figure minus the first one, divided by the first one. So I've set up a table that gives you some price and quantity figure examples. Quantity on the left, price on the right. Now, in our discussion back in Chapter 3 about the law of demand, we found that as price and quantity change, they move in opposite directions. We said they had an inverse relationship, a negative relationship. That means that when we go through the math for this particular calculation, we're going to come up with some negative numbers because those two variables are going to be moving in opposite directions. When you look at the set of numbers at the back of Chapter 5, you're going to be asked to work with those quantity and price figures from the top to bottom. So, I've started one example. I'll put another example on to go through that, and hopefully this will help you get a little further down the road as you march through this computation. We begin with the top set of numbers. The first quantity figure we had was 200. The second quantity figure we had was 160. So in our formula, we're going to take Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1, so 160 minus 200 divided by 200. For the price figures, we had 10 and 20, 10 being the first number you saw, 20 the second. So we're going to take P2 minus P1, 20 minus 10 divided by that first figure. Now that we've got it set up in the correct formula, all you've got to do is take a little time to finish doing some addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. That's really all we're doing with this. In this case, now we come up with minus 40 divided by 200 as our quantity figure, 10 divided by 10 as our price figure. If my calculations are correct, and you can check me at home, this should come out to be a negative 0.2, and this should be 1. Following through, negative 2 divided by negative 0.2 divided by 1 is negative 0.2. This is the price elasticity figure for that first pair of numbers. Now that you've completed that, you can move on to the second set of numbers. And really, this is all we're going to do. We're going to take the next pair of numbers, plug them into the formula, go through some basic addition, subtraction, division, and work through until we have one final figure. In my set of numbers, it looks like I've got 160 and 120 for my quantity figures, 20 and 30. So following along the formula, we're going to take 2 minus 1 divided by 1 for quantity, 2 minus 1 divided by 1 for price. The same thing that we had just done. So let's go ahead and work through one more example. See how my memory serves me because I worked this out earlier. Looks like we're going to have minus 40 divided by 160 for our quantity figure. And we're going to have 10 divided by 20 for our price figure. Minus 40 divided by 160, I believe that's going to give us 0.25, negative 0.25. And 10 divided by 20, 0.5. We can do that in our heads. Following that through to conclusion, negative 0.5 is the price elasticity of demand for that particular set of numbers. Well, this is what you're going to do with the remaining numbers then. You're going to work top to bottom, taking a pair at a time, working through to its conclusion. When you get to the place where you've got just 2 numbers left, that's the final computation you're going to do. We have to have 2 numbers in order to be able to calculate a percentage increase or decrease, and that's why you're going to end with that final pair. So these are the computations for price elasticity of demand. I hope this helps you get a good handle on what you're going to be doing as you work through those problems. As always, if you have questions, you're welcome to work with your classmates. You're welcome to contact me, and I'll be glad to help. Do well, ladies and gentlemen. Get a hold of me if you have any questions.